Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great day. In this video, I'm going to be covering Kingpin. He made his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 50, that was released in July 1967. His real name is Wilson Grant Fisk, and he stands 6 feet 7 inches tall, weighing 450 pounds, also having blue eyes with a bald head. Now, Kingpin is one of those figures that notably skates the line just between a peak human-level physical ability and superhuman, having an extremely bulky body that, despite looking chubby, is composed completely of pure muscle. So much so that he has the strength, durability, and agility to go toe-to-toe with superpowered beings, such as Spider-Man, although he'll typically succumb to those with superpowers. But make no mistake, being as strong as it's possible for a human male to be without being a superhuman, he's been known to lift and use heavy oak desks and 1,500-pound barbells as weapons, also being able to easily crush people's skulls with his hands. His uncanny bulk also gives him increased durability from certain attacks, being able to tank certain attacks from skilled fighters such as Daredevil and Punisher, as well as superpowered beings like Luke Cage and Spider-Man. His muscle mass also giving him a slight resistance to penetration wounds. Now, these physical characteristics alone would be significant, but Kingpin additionally has exceptional skill in hand-to-hand combat, being a master martial artist in things such as sumo wrestling, judo, and aikido, which has made him a match for skilled combatants such as Captain America. Kingpin's mind is also exceptional, having extreme leadership and organizational genius. Not to mention that he has an extreme indomitable will that's able to resist psychic attacks from individuals such as the Purple Man. Oh, also beware of his unassuming walking stick, which tends to contain various weapons. Overall, Wilson Fisk is one of the most accomplished businessmen and the most prominent figure in organized crime in the world, regularly appearing as an enemy to Spider-Man, the Punisher, and most often Daredevil, while at the same time having employed some of the most popular names in assassin work, such as Bullseye, Elektra, and Typhoid Mary. You see, when Fisk was young, he bulked up his body to strike back against bullies who used to torment him. Believing that physical prowess would be key in him building power in the underworld, he would constantly train himself by bodybuilding and learning various combat styles. Not to mention his concentration on increasing his intellect along the way, particularly in political science. By the young age of 12, Fisk had already buried his first rival, and at the age of 15, he was the leader of a tough street gang who was beginning to get recognition as the quote-unquote Kingpin of Crime. He would learn the ropes of the underworld even further by working under a crime lord known as Don Rigoletto. But eventually Fisk would end up taking out Don and taking control of his organization. Now, despite this, Fisk was wise enough to keep his public image clean, investing in multiple legitimate businesses while always proclaiming to just be a humble dealer in spices. Fisk would go on to marry a beautiful socialite named Vanessa and would have a son named Richard, who himself would eventually go on to become the villainous figure known as Rose. Fisk would also become the guardian of Maya Lopez, aka Echo, who was the daughter of one of his business associates that were taken out. After decades of growing his organization, the Kingpin would then organize various New York gangs to challenge the MAGGIA, which was the only criminal organization that was even more powerful than his. This would trigger a conflict that would pull in Spider-Man, who actually helped end it. In the years following this, Kingpin's organization would have ups and downs, basically falling apart by the heroics of Spider-Man and even the subversive tactics of a rival crime lord known as the Schemer, later known as Rose, who was actually his son that he thought had died in a skiing accident. Fisk would then make the decision to leave this life behind and go off to start anew with Vanessa in Japan, although he would eventually return with a vengeance after Vanessa's apparent death. In a few short years, Fisk would rebuild his empire and persuade his foster daughter Echo to help him take on the Daredevil. But after learning the Kingpin had killed her real father, Echo turned on him, blinding him by shooting him in the face and using his inner circle, including his son Richard, to stab him and leave him for dead. However, that wasn't it for the tough Kingpin. And although he temporarily lost his empire, his wife Vanessa reappeared, helping nurse him back to health and actually taking out their son Richard for betraying him. And by the time Fisk healed and had reconstructive surgery to fix his blindness, he would be eager to get back on the scene. even continuing to call shots from behind bars at Rikers Island, doing things like exposing the Daredevil's secret identity, and even ordering a hit on Spider-Man, which ended up targeting his aunt, May Parker. Yet, despite all of this, Daredevil, as Matt Murdock, would end up completing Vanessa Fisk's last wish. And circumstances would make it that Matt would help Kingpin win his trial, but it was in exchange for him leaving the country. However, Fisk would eventually return to the country under the guise of having to complete some old business, with him then taking control of the Hand organization and using their resources to rebuild his empire. Yet during the villainous Hydra organization's takeover of America, Fisk would turn on his political charm and use his resources to help the heroes protect New York's inhabitants, then actually becoming the mayor of New York following Hydra's fall. This is when he would use his position to then slowly try to outlaw heroes and vigilantes, promising to take down individuals such as Punisher, Spider-Man, and Luke Cage. But after members of the Hand turned on Fisk and left him in a coma, he would lose his position as mayor to Daredevil Matt Murdock. But of course, for someone with the brains and brawn of the Kingpin, this was just considered a temporary setback in his pursuit of power. Now, for his abilities and his influence on the Marvel Universe, for my 1 to 10 rating, I'll give Kingpin a rating of 9, which is an epic rating. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, and join the new Sage.